Thank you so much for being here this morning. My name is Jason Esteves, and I am a candidate for Senate District 6. First and foremost, I want to tell you a little bit about me. I am a husband to my wife, Ariel, who's a nurse practitioner and owns her own urgent and primary care clinic right here in Senate District 6, although on the Atlanta side, about 5 miles down the road. I am a father to Zoe, a 3-year-old, who runs the household, by the way, and a 6-year-old, Jaden. I'm an attorney, and I'm an at-large board member on the Atlanta Public Schools Board of Education and the immediate past chair for the last 4 years on that school board. I've dedicated most of my life to serving my community and improving it through leadership. Whether it was right after college at the University of Miami, going to Houston and teaching middle school social studies for 2 years, and I will tell you there's nothing that matures a 22-year-old faster than teaching 150 kids middle school social studies. It was there where I saw so many injustices that I had realized growing up in Columbus, Georgia, where it was clear that one's trajectory was dictated by where they were born and where they lived. I found that to be wrong. I found that to be wrong because I was looking at 150 faces that looked just like mine, people who were willing to work just as hard, had dreams, students who wanted to succeed in life, but there were systemic barriers put in their place to prevent them from doing so. So that motivated me to go to Atlanta, Emory University School of Law, and become a lawyer, where I would advocate for public policy. Ultimately, that's what drove me to the school board. And I know her name has been mentioned many times here today, but I'll mention it again. Shout out to Charisse for all of the work that she has done. I'm gonna take a break from the campaign really quickly and just say that school boards have been under attack in this country. And it is because, unfortunately, those attacks are effective. Republicans have realized that they can attack school issues and parents react. It worked in Virginia. It even worked in a blue city like Houston, Texas. I urge each and every one of you to take their attack seriously. I've probably seen more election-related bills this session than in my last 9 years on the school board. They're doing it for a reason, not because they actually want to get stuff done, but because they're trying to mobilize their base and they want to take back all of the stuff that y'all have worked hard to advance. So please, please, please take this attack on our public schools seriously because it has worked. And it is up to us to make sure that we stop them here in Georgia. I'm running for Senate District 6 because I have a strong belief that we are at a crossroads here in Georgia, where we can build a Georgia that is safe and welcoming and where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. We can go there, or we can live in a Georgia where it's set back about 70 years, where you can't have diversity and inclusion efforts because that's considered critical race theory, where teachers have to turn in lesson plans a year in advance. And if you're a teacher, you know that is impossible because your lesson plans are dictated by the students that you serve and the progress that they're making. I believe that it is important for us to step up and ensure that these attacks on our democracy, these attacks on our families are stopped. And there's no better place to do that than the General Assembly. I believe for us to have a Georgia that we all deserve, we need to have strong public schools that are fully funded, public schools where you expand early childhood options to include not only 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, but children as soon as they are born. I think we need an accessible and affordable healthcare system where you fully expand Medicaid, where you have a world-class mental health system, which we don't today, it's dead last, where we protect a woman's right to choose, and where we protect our seniors. And I say that personally because my mom, who I'm a caretaker of, lives with Alzheimer's in Bindings. We need to make sure we have economic opportunity for every single Georgian, where we have a fair and livable wage, where we have fair approach to taxes, and that we're fighting for environmental justice, protecting our river. Shout out to John Ossoff for introducing the Chattahoochee River Protection Act to ensure that the river that runs right through Senate District 6 it continues to provide us amazing resources for many years to come. And as an Afro-Latino, I ultimately believe that for us to have a Georgia that we can all believe in, the state has to be welcoming and inclusive to all. It's a state that treats everyone with dignity, respect, and fairness, regardless of who you love, where you're from, what you look like, where we're pro-equality, pro-choice, and an ally to our LGBTQ plus community. So look, I talk about all this, but I have a record of actually doing that work. Whether it's at the state level, I'm treasurer of the State Democratic Party of Georgia, where I've helped to fundraise our party to levels that it has not seen. I can't take all the credit. I take a very small percentage of that credit because at the same time, Georgia is the focus of all the attention. But through that work at the state party, I've been able to advocate and campaign for issues, values, and candidates all over the state. Whether it's at the state level, as a school board member, as chair of the school board, I've worked with Jen Jordan and Eric Allen and so many others to ensure that Atlanta had a tax exemption that was fair to the school system, but also fair to taxpayers, where we also staggered terms because, as Sharice and others know, governance is very important to me, and Cobb County Schools needs some governance training. And where I also worked with those legislators to combat really, really bad public policy that would have impacted our children and their families. And then at the local level, where I worked with our unions, AFSCME and FPSC, who have already endorsed my campaign, to stop. I've even held up policies and contracts to ensure that first, our bus drivers, our food service workers were taken care of before those things passed. I've worked to change the names of 4 high schools, or 4 schools in Atlanta who were named after people who would not have liked what those schools look like today. Something, again, that Cobb County Schools should be tackling. I formed an LGBTQ task force to recommend ways to the school district on how to better support our LGBTQ plus staff and students. And not only that, but I also did the work of school districts, which is the teach kids, ensure that we're providing the finances to our schools, providing parents with opportunities to engage and drive the direction of our schools. And because of all of that work, we've seen our graduation rates go in APS from the first time when I campaigned, it was 51%, to today, where it is 83%. That's big gain, big gain. I look forward to bringing those experiences and that perspective to the state legislature. Like I said before, we are at a crossroads. Republicans are already plotting how to take this seat back. They've consolidated around a candidate who is pro-Trump, who is pro-cityhood like Buckhead City, and not only is for it, but she's fundraised and done work on behalf of Trump and things like Buckhead City. We have to keep this seat. We have to defend this seat. And I intend on doing that by working hard from East Cobb through Grove Park, from Vinings to Sandy Springs and Buckhead. But I need your help. So you have received a campaign literature card, hopefully. On that card is my website, but there's also my phone number. Feel free to text. I'm not only asking for your vote, because I'm sure most of you are not in Senate District 6, but can also use your support, whether it's spreading the word about my campaign or volunteering. I greatly appreciate y'all being here. I kept it to about 10 minutes. If there are any questions, happy to take it, whether it's about the campaign or school issues, because I'm always happy to talk about school issues. But again, thank you.